Hey everybody, I'm Ao, and this is Papuji. Welcome back to 8-Minute Morning, a series where we jumpstart your day with a little mindful movement practice. Today's practice is core to restore. So how are you grounding into the core of your body in order to restore some of your energy? This is really great if you're dealing with a back injury, especially a lower back injury, SI, sciatica. If you haven't already checked out the pelvic floor video, go ahead and check that video at some point because it will explain these practices in a little more depth. All right, here we go. We'll start on the back. Okay, so lying on the back, I have my knees bent with the bottoms of my feet on the floor, and I'm bringing my hands just to my lower belly. We're going to start with some breaths, so we're just going to let the space underneath the belly button soften and find a couple deep breaths. If you've done this practice before, you might also think about the widening of the back of the body. Feeling the belly button lift up as you inhale, and a softness as you exhale. Just a couple more like that, getting into the rhythm of your own breath. Feeling the back widen and the belly lift as you inhale, and the softness as you exhale. Okay, so we're going to accentuate that movement a little bit. So as I inhale, I'm going to feel my belly button lift up. And then as I exhale, I'm going to actively draw my belly button in. And then again, inhale, feel your belly expand and widen and let go, and exhale, draw that navel like you're drawing the navel back towards the spine. And we'll just do that a few more times. So we're just starting to get in touch with the lower belly muscles, get in touch with the pelvic floor. As I exhale, I'm drawing my navel downwards towards the spine. And then we'll do one more like that. And exhale. And now we're going to take that a little more deeply, and I'm going to start to push my lower back towards the floor, and that's going to make my tailbone tuck under a little bit. So I'm pushing my lower back so it touches onto the floor. I might feel the back of my pelvis, my sacrum, almost like it lifts up or takes less weight when we push the lower back. So just doing a little pelvic tilt here. And then I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to release the breath down. I'm going to imagine it can come down all the way between my pubic bone and my tailbone. I'm going to do that again, a little pelvic tilt. And then just one more time. And exhale. Okay, so that was a little rocking of the pelvis. We're going to come back to center, and then we're just going to think about the space between the tailbone and the pubic bone, and we're going to think about a string drawing upwards, and then the pubic bone towards the navel, and that string like it draws back towards the floor. So a little arc action. And that doesn't mean you have to do a major tuck. In fact, I'd like you to try to activate those muscles without pushing your lower back towards the floor. Just see what that's like. And if you take that, and maybe you even find like a sense of a kegel, if you're familiar with that practice, so this like squeeze of the lower pelvic floor, and then we're going to take that to like 20%, so it's like not a full squeeze, right? And then we're just going to take the right knee out to the side an inch and bring it back, and then the left knee out to the side an inch and bring it back. Now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a little stability in my transverse abdominis muscle, or that little feeling of lift there, and a little work in the pelvic floor, but without tension in my hip crease. So I'm letting my knee float out and my knee float back, literally like an inch or two, right? Doesn't have to go far. So we're keeping the pelvis nice and steady and stable. Navel draws back a little bit and inwards a little bit, little lift in the pelvic floor, and we're just floating the knees open on one side and back, and other side open and back. Now this may feel like nothing to you, and that's okay. If you did it every day, you'd really get a sense of your pelvic floor supporting you without having to grip through it. So if you don't quite get it, that's okay. All right, now we're going to do something a little deeper with the core. So I'm going to interlace my hands behind the back of my head, and I'm going to lift my elbows up off the floor. I'm going to take an inhale here. As I exhale, I'm going to draw my navel towards my spine, and then I'm going to start to lift my head upwards. Now I want to try to not wrench through my neck, so I'm going to let my chin soften into the chest a little bit, and I'm trying to squeeze the belly and stabilize my lower body here. I'm going to take an inhale. I'm going to exhale. I'm going to find a little twist to the side, and then inhale back to center, and I'm going to find a little twist to the other side. I'm going to inhale back to center, And I'm going to exhale and lower down. Now, when I do core work, I really try to not engage the legs, right? I'm not trying to overwork the psoas muscle. We're going to take another inhale here. As you exhale, lift yourself up. We're trying to really isolate through the abs. And particularly, I'm interested in the lower parts of the abs, the transverse and the lower parts of the rectus abdominis. When you're ready, you can twist just like an inch to one side, and then twist an inch to another side. So this is especially good if you're suffering from the lower back pain that comes from tightness in the psoas, right? As we want to learn how to engage those muscles. Come down and rest for a moment without gripping through the front of the hip sockets. And most, things that you'll see are stuff like that, right? Which is really just a ton of psoas work. All right, so we're really trying to isolate the abs in the low belly here. We're going to do that again. Drawing the navel downwards. Moving to one side. I like to inhale to center and exhale. And one more set when you're ready. Notice if the sides of the neck are tense. See if you can soften the sides of the neck. All right, we're going to let that one go. We're going to draw the knees together and feet up off the floor. And then I'm going to bring my arms out to T shape. And this one, I'm going to turn my palms to face down. And then I'm going to take my tailbone, I'm going to tuck my tailbone under. And that's going to, again, lift a little weight off of the sacrum. I'm feeling my lower back press towards the floor. And then I'm going to move my knees towards one side. Your choice how far you want to go. So I'm drawing the knees over to the side. The feet are going with it. And then I'm going to come back to center. Tuck in the tailbone. And then again, same thing, other side. I'm going to rock to the side. I'm squeezing through the belly. I'm tucking the tailbone. If you don't tuck the tailbone under, you're going to get into your QL muscle. And I don't want you to pull there. So I want you to really think of tucking under. Again, as if you're pushing the lower back to the floor when you're at center. We're going to do that again. Inhaling. Exhaling, knees and feet to the side. You can go quite low if it feels okay to you, as long as you can keep your shoulders with some grounding. If it's starting to cramp in your back, then please stop. All right. When you're ready, we're going to lengthen the legs. Give the legs just a moment to feel a nice extension and a stretch, and then we'll roll over onto the belly to stretch out the stomach muscles. Okay, here on my belly, I'm going to press my pubic bone down towards the floor. I'm going to lift my chest up till I get a little stretch across the front of my belly. I'm not trying to feel this in the lower back, so you could bring yourself down and try to engage through the belly a little bit if that's where you're feeling it, or think about pushing the pubic bone more down towards the floor. That's another way to do it. We're just kind of trying to open up the front line of the body. Could be on elbows, could be on hands. Again, should feel fairly good for the stomach muscles, stretching them out a little bit. All right, now we come to our restore moment. We're going to push back to wide knee child's pose. So in wide knee child's pose, you can have your knees nice and wide. You might bring a pillow or a cushion into the belly to support you, and you can bring yourself down. Reach your arms forward. I have a nice rest here for my upper body. And just a couple deep breaths into the back. All right, everyone, you can decide here if you're ready to rest a little bit more or ready to start your day. Hope this video was helpful for you. And again, feel free to check out the pelvic floor support or anything in the low back series if that's part of what you're dealing with. Thanks. Take care.